The UK housing market crash of 2020, and these are the 3 things you need to avoid. What's up guys, Dan Dravidi here, hope you're all well. In this video I'm going to talk to you about the 3 things every property investor needs to avoid in the UK housing market crash. Before we get started, as usual, if you could do me a huge favour and smash the like button, and don't forget to hit subscribe and the little bell icon for all the notifications. I've said it now on a few videos that the UK market has crashed. A lot of people disagree with me and there's loads of comments about it. If you want to make any comments or any suggestions of any videos for the future, just leave me some feedback in the comment section. For me, it's business as usual, and if you've been watching some of my previous videos, you will know that I've been picking up some great deals. I've been negotiating prices down on existing purchases. I've been talking to tenants. I've been engaging with other property investors, people who may want to take the properties that are currently empty post refurb off of me in the short term. My projects that were ongoing pre-coronavirus lockdown are still active and still happening and still going on and still being converted and built. Some of the projects that I've got going on at the moment is student accommodation refurbishments. I've got a little commercial property which I did a video about a few weeks ago. A couple of pub conversions going on. One is going through planning, one's already been through planning, both are conversion to residential. So it is very much business as usual for me, albeit with some restrictions. We're having some huge issues getting things like plaster and other materials. Places like B&Q have now lifted some restrictions and are starting to open, albeit there is some things that are stopped and still not in there, which are limiting what we can do in the time frame, and things are inevitably being delayed. One of my favourite things to say is observe the masses and do the opposite. Now that's always well said. In hindsight, do you always do it? And the answer is no. The reality is, people always say, yeah, had I done this then I would have achieved that. Now, I haven't looked into a crystal ball and I can't predict the future, nor more than anyone else, but I am giving it my best educated guess based on my previous experience, and that's all anyone can ever do. So you've got to do what's right for you, and I've got to do what's right for me. But if we keep communicating, hopefully we can help each other. And if we keep hitting this like button, then more people will see these videos and hopefully take something away from them. But when all is said and done, no one really knows that if they're going to get it right or wrong. These are my 3 top tips to any property investor of things that you should avoid doing in this crisis. Okay, number 1. Thinking that you can't get a mortgage. There has been headlines and horror stories and posts and videos talking about that lenders are going and before long there'll be none left. Yes, there are some lenders who have pulled the plug on all loans, and there are some other lenders who have reduced loan to values. I know of one lender who was at 85% loan to value, who were very popular, have now reduced their loan to values down to 60%. But there are still lenders out there lending around 70-75%, and there's still some great deals, specific products for not just residential but for HMOs and commercial, buying in personal name and limited companies. They're out there. You just need to either find them on the internet or speak to a broker, an all-market broker, and they'll be able to find the right lender for the right purchase, the right property. So don't think that you can't take advantage of buying a great deal just because there's no lender out there. If you think that before you've even explored it, you've already failed at the first hurdle. So avoid not going forward with a deal just because you believe that there isn't a lender out there. There are plenty still lending in the current situation, and there's some cracking deals out there, nowhere to look. So that brings me on to number 2, which is waiting to see what the market is doing. There are so many people out there saying it's not bottomed out, we've got a huge crash coming, it's not nowhere near where it's going to be, X, Y, and Z is going to happen, there's all these things going on. When we come out of lockdown and the U that I've talked about on previous videos starts to spike up, and confidence is restored and the economy starts to recover, and I mean starts to recover, it won't fully recover because there are going to be job losses, there is going to be less spending, and there's going to be less confidence. So it's not going to happen overnight, but when confidence does start to come back up, prices will follow. So we are in the bottom part of the U at the moment, and if you don't take advantage of some of the prices out there, you'll look back on this time and think, why didn't I buy? We know lenders are out there, just need to know where to look. However, don't get suckered into buying a deal. There are still a huge amount of properties listed on the market, and there are still some coming onto the market way overpriced. And agents, auctioneers, anyone really looking to sell those properties are going to convince you why you should buy it. But I would urge everyone, do not buy a property, which goes without saying, unless it is a significant below market value price. It is a massive reduction on the actual price, not what you believe it's going to be worth, what the value is as of today. And I'm not going to teach anyone to suck eggs, but you can go on Rightmove and Zoopla. Zoopla's a bit of a waste of time on your phone. It doesn't ever sort in the right order. So I'm a big fan of Rightmove. And you can see the prices that people have been paying. And you can also see what's on the market in that area. And that will give you a good indication of what the sort of price is worth prior to all this happening. And if you aren't paying like 25, 30, 35% below those prices, then it's not a good enough deal for you to step in and buy. I'm not saying there's loads of them about. You've got to know where to look, and you've got to know how to negotiate those prices down. Talk quite a bit about that in one of my other videos, which I'll put a link in the comments. Advice number 2, don't buy property that isn't significantly below market value. Which kind of brings me nicely on to point 3, and this is a really obvious one, but I'm gonna say it. This is the worst time to sell. If you do not need to sell, then don't even consider it. I had an agent who is marketing a property for me. It's a commercial property that I'm currently doing some work on to rent. And someone contacted them saying, do I want to sell it? And I said, yeah, I'd sell it. And I gave them a price. It was double what I paid for it. And they said, oh, no, we want to be paying you like 50 grand less than what you paid. And I said, well, no, I don't need to sell it. Why would I sell it for less than I paid for it? I'm in property to make money, not lose money. Now, don't get me wrong. There will be people watching this video who need to sell, whether it's an investment property or residential home for whatever reason, job losses, loss of tenants, income down, whatever it is. My advice would be to try and avoid selling. You may have lost income or your job, or you may have lost your tenants and you've got a mortgage to pay, and it will be a stretch. There are things in place to help you, and one of the things is the mortgage payment holiday, but there are other things. Just don't act too rash. If you still need to sell, then trying to get maximum value at this moment in time is going to be really difficult. So do whatever you can to try and increase the value. If you're pretty handy and you can do some work, great. If you're not, even a lick of paint can improve your chances of achieving a higher price. So those are my 3 bits of advice, quite basic, but basic is where it's at. Very simple but effective ways to maximize the opportunities in the current set of circumstances. I'll say it again, I think now is the time to buy. I have picked up an absolute cracking deal already, and I did a video about it a few days ago. 33% below market value. The deals are out there, they're in public sight. See the wood for the trees, know where to look. Stay safe, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to hit subscribe. I'll catch you all on the next video.